Hello there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I enjoy watching UFO videos, and where they talk about seeing UFOs and the different things we're finding out about what's going on in ufology these days. But I noticed a trend, and it's kind of a disturbing trend. A few years ago, the Navy made a startling announcement. This is what started it all. This startling announcement was that gun camera footage from an aircraft from different aircraft off of the carrier Nimitz, taken back in 2004, was genuine. These airplanes got really good gun camera footage of UFOs, and in other words, that the Navy announced that these UFO videos and photos were real. They announced that UFOs are indeed real. And that I liked it because it opened up an entire new type of video I could talk about. I try to do real stuff on my channel. I don't want to do conspiracy theories or fantasy or whatever. But I like doing UFO videos. They're fun. But that allowed me a whole new branch of videos to do. That one statement that the Navy made, that UFOs are real, literally changed the world. It was a subtle change, but it was a real change. And I talk about this in another video. This is the biggest question in human history. Are we alone in the universe? And it was answered by the U.S. Navy. And the mainstream media hasn't really done a whole lot with it. It should be plastered all over the front page of every newspaper, and it should be the lead story in every news broadcast, but you barely hear about it. Tucker Carlson does some stuff, and some others, talk about it a little, but for the most part, you barely hear anything. Little blurbs here and there. That's it. But after that announcement, a flurry of events followed, and I'm going to talk about some of them. During his presidency, Donald Trump announced the formation of a new branch of the U.S. military, Space Force. I did a video on it. Go check it out. And it struck me as odd because it happened just before the announcement of the Navy saying UFOs were real. So it was just before. During his presidency, Donald Trump announced that before he left office, I should say, he signed a bill wherein one of the provisions forced our government to release a report of everything they knew about UFOs. And it was a big report. It was kind of lackluster because it didn't get a lot of coverage. And a lot of the stuff that they talked about, we kind of already knew. But the fact that they released it at all proves that what many ufologists have claimed for decades, and that's that the U.S. government is very interested in UFOs. They call them UAPs now, unidentified aerial phenomena, but UFOs is what they're more commonly known as. The various organizations, private and public, that deal with space, meaning NASA, SpaceX, like that, they're doing a lot of stuff in space recently, and I mean a lot, including runs to the International Space Station. They're equipping it with a lot of stuff. I mean, you didn't used to hear about runs to the ISS, but now you hear about them almost every week. It's ridiculous. The U.S. military planners are considering equipping our warplanes with laser weaponry. And one could say that would make them a more effective plane against some of the other nations on the earth. And maybe that's the case. As I understand it, China has stealth technology and drones now. And, a lot of other nations are trying to get that. Many of them already have drones. But for the most part, we have the best planes in the air right now. And equipping them with laser weaponry is kind of, I don't know, maybe overkill? I don't know. China, like I said, China is making drastic improvements in their planes, so maybe it's to combat them. That's a possibility. The U.S. government has let slip that they have been studying UFOs, and I'm not talking about footage, and I'm not talking about reports. I'm talking about they have crashed UFOs that they're studying, the debris, They're studying the debris of crashed UFOs. A very prominent reporter came out with that, and that barely made headlines. U.S. Navy ships are now being equipped with defensive laser weaponry as well. And one might, well, you know, the argument could be made that they're good against missiles, and that's true, they are. But what else can they be good against? We didn't just get this technology. This technology has been around a while. Why they're suddenly talking about this massive influx of laser weaponry now on our military hardware raises questions. That's all I'm saying. NASA and other organizations, public and private, are talking about colonies on the moon and on Mars. And they've been talking about this for a long time. Many different organizations have. But it was always, well, we're going to try to get the technology, and then we're going to, you know, progress and do it and blah, 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 blah over decades and whatever. For some reason, in the last year and a half, they're talking about doing it in the next 4 years. I mean, it shifted into overdrive for some reason, and I can't figure out why. It's one thing to want to put a colony on Mars, and that's cool, but that's a massive expenditure, and it seems like a lot really quick. That's all I'm saying. China has hypersonic missiles. Usually when a country tests missiles, they have a firing range and they shoot it out there, and when it hits, they go and collect the debris, and they're able to test and figure out how well it worked and what all. But the idea is to recover the debris so you can find it. You know, figure out what worked, what didn't. You know, China test fired this particular hypersonic missile into space. You can't recover the debris from space, as far as I know. So that begs the question, why would they fire one into space if they're test firing it? You see what I'm saying? To me, that says they're planning on shooting them into space. And now NASA is preparing to launch DART. DART is a rocket designed, it's an acronym, DART. It's designed and intended to be crashed into a meteor to alter the meteor's course. And ostensibly it's supposed to be to keep meteors from hitting the Earth, to prevent those extinction level events. Excuse me. But NASA made a claim the other day that struck me as odd. They did this they claimed that these particular rockets are in the name of planetary defense, which is a much broader term than just, you know, defense against meteors and things like that. To me, that says they're planning on more than just meteors. I did a video a while back called UFOs Evidently, a couple of years ago. Go check it out. And in that video, I recanted a story of my wife asking if there was more to this than we're being told. And that's a very, very good question. It's a very pertinent question. Is there something to worry about? Perhaps we should be watching the skies. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.